Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and if you want to call in and ask questions, you can call in right now, 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about, what time is it? 7? We'll be here till about 8:30. I don't know. We'll be here till we're going to be here till we get done. Beebs, that's it, right?
We're going to ride this till the wheels fall off.
It is.
That's how we
just heard it.
You done
heard it.
That's how we do it in the big city. That's how we do it in the big city.
That's how we're rolling. We're rolling heavy, baby. Tonight, we're going to talk about the odds for the Pacquiao-Spence fight are in. And I tell you what, I was a little surprised when the odds came in. I don't know about you, B, but I was pretty surprised. We'll also talk about Triple G's next fight is penciled in. Not 100% official, I don't believe yet, but it's penciled in. It's agreed to. We'll tell you all about that. But first, we're going to get started with Showtime. Last night, Nordine Ubali versus Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire wins by knockout. I mean, this was he literally beat Father Time. This is a 38-year-old guy, Beeb. 38 years old at 118 pounds. It's not like he's, like when George Foreman won the title and he always had that puncher's chance. That's not Donaire. I mean, at 118, that's not like, you don't have puncher's chances down there. You've got to be able to box. Those guys are quick. You got to move. You're going 12 rounds. I tell you what, man, Donaire dropped Ubali with a left hook in the third round. I gave the first 2 rounds to Ubali, to be honest with you. I thought he was kind of dictating the pace and everything like that. I thought he was jabbing him. I thought he was landing the cleaner, harder shots. But I tell you what, in the third round, it was all downhill for him. Ubali got clipped with that left hook, and he crumbled. I mean, that was a shot. I was surprised he actually got up from that. So he got back up. Now, I'm not sure he got knocked down again, okay, at the end of the round. Now, it was clearly after the bell. But I'll be honest, when I looked at the replay, I was listening for the bell, but what I didn't pay attention to is if the punch was coming as the bell rang. That I don't know. I'm not sure if the punch was in motion at time, but the shot was clearly after the bell. Jack Reese, also known as the worst referee in boxing, gave the 8 count to Oubaali, okay? Then proceeded to give him another 10 seconds. I actually clocked it. It was 10 seconds. Once he got up to give, he gave him 10 more seconds to gather himself. He is completely awful. I mean, just completely awful. Donaire caught Oubaali again in the 4th round with a left uppercut. He just crumbled to the floor. At that point, the fight was stopped. Nonito Donaire, once again, 118-pound champion, the WBC bantamweight champion, 38 years old, the oldest in history. Beam, I have been saying this for a long time. This is the fight, I think, out of all of them, when they announced this schedule, that I was looking forward to the most. I'd been wanting to see this fight for a long time. Now, given the fact that you have a rematch, I guess Donaire called out Inoue for a rematch. You know how I am about rematches, but Inoue and Donaire, that was such a good fight the first time. That broken orbital, he got a broken orbital in the 3rd round, Inoue did, and continued to fight on and win that fight. I want to see it again. I don't mind that. I don't mind that rematch. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I was very impressed with Donaire. I picked him to win. I didn't think it was going to be that easy, though. I did say that, Ubali was a pattern guy, very repetitive in his attacks, basically a 1-2 guy, right jab, left hand right behind it. But problem that I saw with him was he's not the type of guy that plants his feet from the outside and just shoots that jab from the outside and measures you and then lines you up with the left hand. This guy actually leans in when he throws that right jab, and then he leans in as he's throwing that left hand. So he leans forward. He's not planting his feet and jabbing and getting the range. And he's not feinting on the way in. He's not throwing 2 jabs on the way in. He's a basic 1-2 guy, but a 1-2 lean in type guy. And he's already knocked out of position a lot of times because he's leaning so forward. He's off balance, and he's right there for the uppercut. And what did Donaire do? He shot that half uppercut, half hook, and that's how he caught him. And I think he just had his number. He must have really studied the tape on this guy. And I know his wife, Rachel, also did the same thing, because she pretty much said the same thing I said, because Chakal and I and D-Style and I, we had conversations during the week about this fight. And we just, no disrespect to Ubali, but we just thought that because he was so basic, with all due respect, not to minimize him, he's good at what he does. He does have an explosive left hand. There's no question about it. Does have a little bit of quickness to him. But again, Donaire just stood his ground and waited for him and timed him on the way in, because he knew what was coming, and he knew that because he leans in, he knew his head would be low, and he knew he could shoot that uppercut right up, right up and underneath, and that's exactly what he did. So, but that was the big issue with Ubali being such a pattern, repetitive 1-2 type fighter who leans in a lot, and it hurt him in this fight because he wasn't able to, land that left hand as much as he would like to. Landed it a few times, but not enough times where he could really hurt Donaire and knock him off balance and break up his rhythm as he was trying to time Ubali coming in.
Yeah, that was, that fight when he, that you can tell there was something they saw there.
Yeah.
You can always tell when you see a fight like that, whether it's Hatton Pacquiao or whatever, you've seen something. Somebody saw something that they could take advantage of. And that's what happened. I mean, that's what, I had Ubali to win this fight. I just wanted to see how he was going to win. I never suspected that Donaire, I thought that Donaire was, honestly, I thought he was too old. I really did. I thought he was a little bit too old for this. And I think that's why they took him as an opponent. I think that he was a little bit too old. This would have been a good win for Ubali, but when it gets down to brass tacks, man, you can't overlook him.
Well, Donaire is just such a phenomenal counterpuncher, and 118 is his weight class, because when he moved up to 122 and 126, that was when things really started to get tough for him. That was when the road started to get real rocky for him. But 118 has always been his weight class. That's where he's always shined.
Yeah. Yeah, he really has. And, back when he lost to, who was a Rigondeaux, you remember when he lost to Rigondeaux?
Yes.
Years ago, people were writing him off and saying, because that was such a dominant performance by Rigondeaux. That wasn't close at all. You know what I mean? That fight wasn't close in the slightest.
It would be interesting to see what would happen in a rematch at this time, because I think Rigondeaux is a lot older now, so that fight would be much.
It's some people age, some people age differently. Some people reach their peak differently. I don't know. Yeah. One thing is for sure, though, that Donaire punched his ticket. Punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame. I don't think there's any question.
No question about it.
There
is no question about it.
Really, he's clearly punching his ticket to the Hall of Fame after that one. Chakal, you showed me a text from Chakal, and I know you guys were talking about it as well on Wednesday, I believe. So days before the fight, both of you guys said that you saw a pattern there, and you thought that Donaire was going to get him with a left hand. And sure enough, that's what happened. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys are not betting with Chakal, you're losing money. He is on a streak right now like I've never seen. He really is. And he doesn't just tell you, oh yeah, it's going to, he bets like prop bets, knockout, this, that, decision, whatever.
Parlays, everything.
Yeah, like dangerous types of bets. If I bet, I bet the guy to win. I don't really bet like KO under 5, I'll bet the guy to win.
He's not your garden variety gambler. He gets a little creative. He's like the Beeb.
He's like the Beeb.
we make power.
We need to hire him on at Beeb Industries is what we need to do, man. Because I tell you what, that guy.
We make power moves.
I
gotta concede. He's beaten me this year in picks.
I tell you what. He's beating everybody in picks. I don't even think it's close.
He's beating me in picks.
Not only that.
We both lost on Ramirez, though. That was a tough blow for us.
Yeah. And he's got, he really does have like an inside track on a lot of these guys because he'll tell me news and stuff like that we don't report. We don't report it until it's official. But like he'll tell us news. He'll tell us both news. And a couple days later, it's out. I mean, that's where it's going, as far as like Canelo and stuff like that. And,
him and I have weekly meetings, like usually on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And we get these, we nail these picks down.
Lois, get you guys sandwiches and everything like that. And
please.
All right. So you watched the Ubali fight. What did you think of that third round with Jack Reese? Am I wrong on this? Am I way off base on this? He gave him 10 seconds after he got up from that 8 count.
I was aggravated.
10.
But here's the thing. I think Donaire started the punch before the bell rang, and the punch did land after the bell rang. But
yes,
because of that, I would have said that was a legal punch. I would have allowed it as a legal punch. But the whole thing about come forward 10 steps, walk 10 steps sideways.
He said, walk forward to me. He rubs his gloves and everything like that, starts this dialogue with him again. And he says, walk to me again. What?
It's all theatrics. These referees like to make themselves part of the action. It's just ridiculous. Have the guy take 2 steps forward. Are you all right? Yes. Give me your gloves, and that's it. That's it.
That's it, right?
It's ridiculous, man.
I don't get it, man. I really don't understand why this has to be this big dog and pony show when a guy gets knocked down. It was never like that. Do you remember back in the day? I mean, you remember back in the day, man, it was never like that.
Never. But once again, all these referees, they want to be like overly officious. They want to go over the top here. They want to make it about them. And this is what you got. The screaming, the yelling. And then another thing that these referees do today. All right, stop. Come here. That gives them a fucking speech in the middle. No, just tell them. Let the action continue. All right, keep them up. That's it. Stop. Enough with the dirtiness. You don't have to stop the fight and give these guys a friggin' scolding for friggin' 5 minutes. Again, it's ridiculous, man. Enough. Enough with the theatrics. Enough with the theatrics from these referees.
Notorious VC said Kenny Bayless gave Jose Ramirez like a full minute to recover between the 2 knockdowns. I don't know. I know he gave him a lot of time.
Well, he asked him if he was okay about 7 times. 1 or 2 times would suffice.
Guys, listen, man. I mean, you're there to protect the fighters. I get it. That being said, there's a point that you're crossing that's giving him the advantage now. You know what I mean? And giving him more rest to recuperate and everything like that. Listen, he's supposed to get up, and if you don't know that he's okay, then stop the fight.
It's not fair to the other guy.
No, it's not.
Fair. It's not fair to the other guy who's ready to go right back at him and get him out of there while he has him hurt, and you're giving him more time to recover. Is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Right. Salute to Lion Killer, who's on there. Who's on the chat right now? Andres Rodriguez, salute. Coco the Don, the Boxing Channel, salute. Reese Max, salute. Notorious VC, salute. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much for showing up tonight. Let's talk about this second fight here. Subriel Matias versus Badr Jukambayev. Matias wins by a TKO at the end of the 8th. And then also let's talk about Gary Antoine Russell. All of his kids are named Gary Russell, by the way. I'm just saying. Kind of like George Foreman, all of the kids are named George in some form or another. All of his kids are named Gary Russell. Gary Antoine Russell wins by TKO at the end of the 6th. Santiago didn't want to come out. After the fight, Russell called out Adrian Broner. Let's talk about this for a second here, Beeb. How did you think? I thought Gary Russell Jr. looked really good. I thought he looked really, really solid.
I mean, I think all the brothers are just really quick. They're fast. Yes. I think boxing's in their blood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just all natural fighters. It seems like everybody's calling out Adrian Broner right now, though. Everybody. I think who else called out Adrian Broner? Connor Ben called him out over the weekend as well. Yeah, everyone wants to fight him. Like, people talk trash about the guy, but for whatever reason, people want to fight him. I think he knows how to draw. He knows how to draw crowds.
He knows how to draw that money. That's why, because you're going to get paid if you fight him.
Yeah,
because he pulls down money. He puts people in the seats, man. People want to see him. He's, Reese Mack said it right. AB does bring the show. You're right, 100% right.
Yeah.
Tony Ayo says, is Gary Antoine Russell related to the other Gary that never fights? Yeah, it's his brother. There's like 3 of them. I think there's like three of the Russell brothers. I think he's the youngest though. Antoine is the youngest, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken about that, but yeah. But yeah, man. So I thought he looked good. Everybody's calling out Bronner. If I'm Bronner, I mean, there's been no motion to fight. You know what I mean? But I understand like a guy like Gary Russell calling him out. You know what I mean? Why not? Why not? I mean, if you get him, that's great.
To name on the record.
And it's a big name on his record. I thought he looked good. I really did. All right. Oh, wait a second here. Hold on here. We got him. The most electrifying man in boxing, boy, Blair Cobbs, the Flair, baby. How are you?
Look at the $1 million smile.
Look at that, man.
The $1 million smile. He's always happy. He's always in a good mood, man.
Always in a good mood.
Give it
as
to me.
Long
Woo!
as my hair's looking good, I'm good, baby.
That's it, man. He's electrifying, guys. All right, so Blair Cobbs is going to fight on June 19th. He's fighting Brad Solomon, correct? Brad Solomon?
Absolutely. We got a nice victim, a beautiful, nice victim. He's going to give a very big show. He's very smart, very tactical. He's going to try to outbox a very good boxer in Blair the Flair.
What goes through your mind? Because, this guy has got more fights now. What is he? He's like got double the fights. I mean, so he's got like 32 pro fights. And so this is not like a cakewalk for you. This is a tough guy.
Well, that's what they say. They say that this guy's going to give Blair the Flair the run for his money. And I hope the betting odds is in his favor. So I can bet on myself and get all the money.
Now, you've been off for a little over a year, but a year and some change, so how do you keep busy through this whole time? I mean, what have you been doing through the whole year and everything like that? Just training, or how does this whole thing work? Being off a year is a long time, especially for a young fighter like yourself. And then you come back against a guy like this, who's not a cupcake, man. This is a tough guy,
Well, what I've been doing is just training. I've been training very, very hard. I've been in a wild card gym training and sparring some of the elite professional boxers at the highest level possible. And it's been wonderful. It's been a hellified experience getting in there and having a very organized training camp with Freddie Roach leading the way. And it's just been one hellified roller coaster, especially outside the ring. Outside the ring, I went through a whole lot of adversity. I went through ups and downs and relationships, ups and downs, and like how just my lifestyle in general. And I bounced back. One thing that I know for sure is that I'm good at persevering through any and every obstacle possible. So when it comes to this fight, I look forward to having a good fight and also coming up victorious. Why? Because I already know what it means to persevere and win. Get through it, and win.
Gotcha. So on this fight right here against Brad Solomon, I know you've seen him fight before. Is there a lot of pressure on you to not only win, but to win big? I mean, in impressive fashion, whether it's knockout or completely whitewashing this guy, is there a lot of pressure on you? Do you put a lot of pressure on yourself when it comes to stuff like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I'm the most excited man in boxing, and the most excited man in boxing cannot have a dull fight against a guy named Brad Solomon. So I have to go in there and just be flashy, flamboyant, but also show people charisma, technique, and dedication to the sport. It's going to be interesting. That's the one thing that I know for sure, is that it's going to be very interesting trying to create drama in a fighter like Brad Solomon that is very defensive. It's going to be very hard to pull him into a fight. to draw him into a fight, and I have to go out there and put pressure, but I have to do it intelligently.
Right.
So I'm scared that I might show too much technique, too much abilities and gifts. See, the thing is, nobody knows how good I am. So, and I like that. I like that, because it gives me the opportunities that most people don't. Nobody wants to fight a fighter that they know that they're going to lose against. Nobody, it's just one of those times. We live in a day and age where people are afraid more of losing their undefeated record than actually putting on a performance and giving it all they got. It is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to not only win, but look good doing it.
Now, a lot of fighters, they will say, like, my job is to go in there and just fight the fights, but it's kind of more than that. It's about having a good image, good personality, making people interested in you. And no one really does it in boxing right now as good as you in terms of the young guys. I have to give you credit for that. How important is that to make people want to see you, not just by your boxing ability, but also your personality, the way you carry yourself. You have a very engaging way about you, and you draw people to you because of that. Talk about that, and how important is that?
It's incredibly important. Me, Blair the Flair, the most exciting man in boxing, that does the Blair the Flair woo all day, every day, nonstop, anytime, anywhere. Blair. Well, the whole idea is to inspire. If you're not inspiring people to watch these fights, if you're not inspiring, if you're not an inspiration to somebody's heart, to just even the imagination of man. If you're not inspiring in the imagination, boxing is not really going anywhere. It just makes it to a point where we're just sitting here waiting for another megastar. Blair the Flair looks forward to becoming the next megastar. We had Floyd Mayweather, we had Manny Pacquiao, and then after that, nothing. It's no one's really that inspired to see Errol Spence. I mean, the toughest thing he ever said was, "You fight like you're swimming." It's just not inspirational, And then you have somebody like Blair the Flair that's just much more like a Muhammad Ali. Life in boxing wasn't that great until you had great people that rise above the class, that did more than just become a great boxer, but transcended the sport. And that's what we need. We need exciting people that's going to transcend the sport. And I'm doing everything possible to make sure that I give you guys the best that Blair the Flair has to offer. Excitement inside and outside the ring. One of the biggest things that happened between me and my development, and the reason why you have these topsy-turvy fights, is because I have big layoffs, which has been really a gift that I thought was a curse, because now people don't really know how good I really am. And that gives that opportunity to create these exciting fights. Nobody knows I'm going to win these fights until they see it. And that's where I want to be. I love to be at that point where I'm the underdog, and we can show the measure of a man.
Now, you're in a division that's got some of the best fighters in the sport. It's what you could argue it's the best division in the sport. But these guys don't mix it up with each other. There's the best fighters, but the best fighters aren't fighting the best in this division. How frustrating is that when you see that? And you say to yourself, I hope they can work this out by the time I get up there and it's my turn, because I don't want to have to play these games with, I can't fight this guy. He's on that side of the street. He's on that side of the street, this side of the street, whatever. Mm-hmm. How frustrating is that when you see this?
Look, man, it's very frustrating. It's so frustrating that Terrence Crawford wants to fight Blair the Flair right now. Because it's so boring. It's just nothing. And the thing is, if Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Sean Porter don't get together and make something happen. You know, if we don't have these big fights that actually create excitement and drama, if we don't have these fights, once Blair Flair gets there, like they got to be begging for a fight with me. And it's like, why would I fight them? I might as well go up a couple weight classes and fight Canelo. It just don't make no sense because these people are not fighting each other and not putting on the performances that really need to happen. One thing that like everybody bashes Deontay Wilder, and I'm the opposite. I don't bash Deontay Wilder because he actually goes out and finds the very, very toughest competition that he could possibly put himself in because this other guy wouldn't step in the ring. You know, okay, we can't get the guy from London, okay. But you know what? Tyson Fury, the next big thing. You know, and then we make it happen. I respect those fighters that are willing to push the envelope. And not only that, he fought him twice and took a loss, and I respect him for it. And I hope that that more top elite fighters can put on these great fights that can make these fights happen, because these fights are what helped develop the sport. And if these people in my weight class, if they don't get their act together, you know, Blair Flair is going to be that guy sooner, like it's coming. And then once that happened, I can kind of just X all of them out, you know. I mean, it's so bad now that we have YouTubers making more money than some of these world champions. Like, so if you're not inspirational, if you're not inspiring people's imaginations, what are you doing? You know, so like, and if you're not doing that, you should be putting on a fight. You should be fighting somebody. Why don't we have a Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford right now? The thing is, you don't know what's going to happen. You know, outside the ring, things happen. That fight was almost like completely gone when Errol Spence got into that car accident. You know, and they're just over here playing games. Oh yeah, it's going to be more money later. It's going to be more money later. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. It's not more money later. You know, and I just it's very frustrating, to say the least.
Now you're a big risk taker in that ring, and you take a lot of chances, and it's paid off for you thus far. But you ever say to yourself, as this competition gets tougher and tougher, I'm going to have to probably pull back a little bit and maybe be a little bit more methodical as my career progresses? Do you sit down and kind of think that through when you're mapping out your career?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I take risk in that ring just to create some drama. For the most part, I have complete control in that ring. But there's going to come a time where I'm faced against higher level fighters where I have to be even more reserved and control the fight in a different manner, where there is no going back and forth. I'm winning every single round. Make no mistake, I'm training with some of the top elite fighters. I look to my left, I look to my right, and every person that I'm sparring is either an Olympian or a champion. Everybody's undefeated in my gym. And for me to be the guy that's outboxing everybody, you know, my skills will show come June 19th. And from here on, the whole thing is, how much of the skills do I have to display, you know, to get this guy out? I don't want to show too much, but it's definitely there. And I'm definitely ready for the elite professional fighters. I'm definitely ready for the Terrence Crawfords of the world and the Keith Thurmans and all that stuff. But it's always drama. Like, it's always some problems if you happen to look like you're unbeatable. So it's just one of those things where you kind of got to play.
Gotcha. Talk to me a little bit about your last fight. You had a split decision against Samuel Cote, and it was a difficult fight for you. I know you were deducted a point and everything like that, but what did you do? Did you go back to the drawing board after that fight and say, you know what, it shouldn't have been that tough, or he got me here? What was your thought process after that fight?
There was a couple little technical flaws that I wanted to work on, but I never got the chance to work on it. There was a couple little things that were not working out in my training camp, the professionalism behind the corner and everything, and behind the scenes of the training camps and everything. And I went to the drawing board, and I found what I needed. I took myself to somewhere that can get me what I need, which is in the wild card gym. They're very professional, and I'm surrounded by the people that I need to develop me into where I need to go. As far as the fight itself, I had complete control over the fight itself. But also I still wanted to give it a little bit more exciting. So I was still somewhat I gave a couple rounds just to make it a little bit exciting. And it might have been a little too close for some of the judges, even though it was a clean slate. But I just wanted to keep it exciting, even in the midst of something like that, whereas though, like, okay, this guy, one, has an incredibly hard head. I'm like, okay, if I keep punching this guy like this, I'm gonna break my head. Like, the Africans have an incredibly strong skull. But yeah, it's been one hell of a roller coaster, going through the experience and getting the necessary experience. The whole thing is that, like, every fight has to help develop you into the end result, which is a world champion. And I only have, like, at that time, only had 13, 14 fights, and now I'm 15 fights in. And it's just, I'm just taking one fight at a time. And every fight, I'm fighting against guys that got more experience, more fight experience, probably more amateur experience as well. And I'm doing well for myself. This fight that I'm going into this time in June 19th, he's got a lot of amateur experience. He's got a lot of ring experience. And that is going to help develop me and move me into the next level.
Yeah, it's, I'm looking at your record and everything like that. And again, like I said, with the Solomon that you're fighting on June 19th, it's tough because, like, I look at that record and it's like, you're not fighting like typical easy guys to just pad a record. You're fighting guys they're difficult fighters. You know what I mean? It's not just you're 15 fights in, but it's the 15 guys you fought. It's not just a padded record. They're tough guys. What's it like been working with, like, at the wild card? Because I understand that you moved to LA. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I have a place out here in Malibu, and I still have property in Las Vegas. And yeah, I'm just moving as I go, trying to train as best I can and get whatever I need to develop myself as an elite professional boxer. But yeah, as far as, like, my fights, that's one thing that, like, a lot of people don't take in consideration. Like, they're like, oh man, he's a little unseasoned. Am I a little unseasoned, or is it just the simple fact that I have a whole lot of layoffs and time off? That like, okay, I might have 15 fights, but what's over the span of what time? And then you think about like this, like, who am I fighting? Like, I fought 3 undefeated fighters back to back. And then some. Every single one of these fighters, all the way up until now, a lot of these guys were not easy fights. They weren't easy fighters. I was the guy that was supposed to lose in these fights. And the thing is, we don't know anything about a Terrence Crawford that was supposed to lose in any fight, or a Earl Spence that was supposed to lose in any fight. Especially an undefeated fight, like an undefeated fighter that they're fighting less than 15 fights in the game. So, like, I think sooner or later people are going to see that and be more respectable about, like, my position. But regardless, I take it, and it's fun. I'm having a great time, and it's just been one hell of a roller coaster.
All right, man. On that note, we're going to let you go, Blair. Thank you so much. The most electrifying man in boxing. If you want to catch him on social media, on Instagram at Blair the Flair, Do you have a Twitter at all, or is it just Instagram you usually do?
We're working on Twitter. I think they shut me down on Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
You got barred from Twitter?
No telling, man. Like,
Too much wilding out. Too much wilding out.
I'm worse than Donald Trump.
I know, right? He gets banned from Twitter. You get banned from Twitter. What's going on, man? You know. real quick before I go, I was really interested in. So, have you ever met Ric Flair, or have you ever talked to him at all?
Well, I got in a conversation with him over the phone.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah. A couple conversations, and it's been great. Every once in a while, I get a woo out of nowhere. You know, I'm like, who's this strange old man? Who is this strange old man calling me?
Just calling your phone. Woo!
You don't get the woo back, goddammit. It's my turn.
Woo! Woo! There you go. All right, Blair, man. Thank you so much. Good luck on June 19th, okay?
Absolutely. Take care, you guys.
Thanks, man. That guy gets it. You know what I mean? I mean, let me tell you this. So anybody who's 14-0, do you remember them at all?
No.
I don't remember them. No. This guy is 14-0-1 with 9 knockouts, but we remember this guy.
Yo.
It's his charisma. He gets it. He understands the promotion of it.
He's got a great personality, man.
We always talk about Hank Lundy, how he could have been a star had he been promoted the right way. Yeah. This guy is a star now. You know what I mean? Everybody know who he is. And he's only 14 fights in. You know, he's the kind of guy you want to watch.
Yep.
And that's it. I mean, you want to watch his interviews. You want to watch the way, the press conferences, everything leading into the fight, you want to watch. He's incredible. He really is. Great fighter, man. And I think he knocks out Brad Solomon. I think he beats Brad Solomon. I think he beats him pretty easy.
Definitely be tuning into that one.
Yeah, for sure. Now, that's on the undercard of the Selesky fight. Munguia and Selesky are fighting on that undercard. That's June 19th. That's Super Saturday for everybody who's concerned on that. Super Saturday, they've got like 4 or 5 fights on 4 different stations. 2 pay-per-views that night. It's insane. Yep. June 19th, man. It's just insane. But I will definitely be watching Blair Cobbs on that night. That's for sure. All right, B, where do we leave off? Did we start with the Devin Haney?
We did not start Devin Haney. We finished up with the Russell.
The Russell, right?
Correct.
All right, let's talk about this Devin Haney fight, man. Devin Haney wins a unanimous decision over Jorge Linares, 116, 112 twice, and 115, 113. This is a tougher fight than I expected for Haney, man. He stayed in the pocket the entire fight. He really did. I mean, he didn't run. He circled. He didn't run. He stood in front of Jorge Linares the entire fight, man. There were some shaky moments for Haney in the 10th round. He got wobbled at the end of the round. I've never seen Haney hurt before. He claims after the fight he wasn't hurt. Trust me, you don't wobble like that if you're not dizzy or hurt. You got to think if that happened in the beginning of the round, man, he would have had some real trouble to deal with. Now, whether Jorge Linares can finish it or not, that's a different animal. Haney pretty much tied him up in the 11th and prevented him from doing anything else. I mean, he was like grappling with him the entire round. Overall, man, I thought the win was a good win for Haney. The fact that he took some damage, listen, man, it sounds silly, but the fact that he took some damage, I think, is going to make him more marketable. I really do. I think more people are going to line up and say, you know what, if he has trouble with it, I'm going to beat him. And then that's going to get the ball rolling for him. He got a lot of hate on social media for this fight. Jorge Linares knocked down Lomachenko, gave Lomachenko all he wanted for those 11 rounds before he got clipped with that body shot. Gave him all he wanted. Devin Haney pretty much disappeared in the first 9 rounds in that fight. I mean, Linares couldn't find him. What Linares did well, though, I thought he was landing that left hook. I thought he caught him with that left hook a couple of times. And now I don't know that they really hurt him in the early goings, but I noticed he was getting caught with them, A lot of people saying he got exposed. A lot of people saying this. A lot of people saying that. Listen, Devin tried to knock him out. I mean, Devin was in there throwing shots. I thought he tried to knock him out. He was hitting him hard. And, I thought he was in there. I thought he was trying. I thought he did a good job, man. Beeb, you're shaking your head. Do you think the criticism is deserved?
I'll say this. Devin Haney is who he is. He's very fast. He's a quick fighter. He's very, I'm not going to say he's explosive, but he can land punches so quickly that it's hard for his opponents to see them coming. So there's a surprise element to those punches because he's so quick. But I'll say this. Without a doubt, to me, he's a safety first fighter. I don't think he has a killer instinct. And I'm not saying that makes you a bad fighter, but it leaves some things missing from you. I thought he was backing up right when the bell rang. He was taking a half step back. He was fighting this guy, Jorge Linares, like he was in there with Mike Tyson. That's the impression I get. I'm not saying you got to go in there and be like Mickey Ward and the Toragati and just go to war with somebody.
Sure.
But to me, no fighter likes to get hit. Let's just put that out there, okay? No fighter should have to give up his chin to anybody. But certain fighters, when you watch them, you have a sense that they really don't like getting hit to the point where they're really overly concerned about it. And they fight sometimes in an apprehensive way. To me, he was landing punches clean, but he was running right out to reset. I don't really think he stood in there and tried to really put it on Jorge Linares. I thought he was just trying to touch and go, like he was playing a game of tag. Now, he was winning the rounds. No problem. He's winning the rounds. But Jorge Linares is not supposed to walk you down like that. He's not supposed to be allowed to pressure you in the way he was pressuring you, because what happened was he noticed you were only throwing one jab at a time. And the reason why you were only throwing one jab at a time is because you wanted to boom, boom, and get out of there. Your intention was to touch and go. You didn't want to put 2 and 3 together or 3 and 4 together. You had such a speed advantage over this guy and you were landing so cleanly. At some point in this fight, you got to sit down and you got to try and get your respect. That doesn't mean you have to go to war with him. That doesn't mean you have to give up your chin. That doesn't mean you have to be reckless. But at some point, you got to let him know that, hey, man, you keep coming forward on me, you're going to have to pay for that. You're going to have to pay for that. You ain't going to just walk through me like that. He was walking through him. And then the reason why he was landing that left hook was because Haney was only throwing those such a low amount of combination punching in this fight. There wasn't a lot of combinations thrown by Haney. It was boom, boom, and I'm out of there. A flashy jab and a right hand, and I'm out of there, right? And he was out of there. But so Linares was noticing he's only throwing one jab at me. So guess what? As soon as he pulls that one jab back, what's coming after? I'm gonna jump in with my left hook because I know that I'm not gonna be touched on the way in, because as soon as he throws that one jab, I know he's not gonna follow up with anything else. So he was landing the left hook, and he stunned him, he buckled him with one of them, and he wobbles him badly with 2 other ones. And as soon as he got hurt in that 10th round, right? He had a good 4th round, Linares. But then, I had to fight 8 rounds to 4. I gave Linares the last 3 rounds. As soon as he got hurt in that 10th round, he went into survival mode. There was points in the fight where he would jump out and grab him without even throwing a punch. He would just grab him like that, jump at him, and hold him. And
that 11th round, he was grabbing pretty heavily that whole
round too. And the thing is this: the difference between holding and clinching. When you hold, that's a desperation.
Yes.
And he's grabbing him like this, looking over the referee. Come on, come break us. He wasn't grabbing him, wrestling him, mauling him, forcing him back, releasing the clinch. He wasn't doing what Josh Taylor was doing last week.
Right.
He was
hurt. He was hurt.
Let's go. but he did it for the last 3 rounds, and he did it in large portions of the fight as well. Every time Linares kind of got close to him, he won rounds. He's fast, but I do not think he's going to beat the iron of this division like that, because whether this is fair or not, I'm not just watching him fighting Jorge Linares. I've said this before. I'm watching him fight, and I'm envisioning him fighting Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. And, you know, when these guys hurt you, they're not going to let you off the hook. You're lucky Linares is not a great finisher. If he was a great finisher, possibly could have stopped him out of there. Could have got him out of there. Could have stopped him, got him out of there. This was a 15-round fight. Would have been interesting because he just swept the last 3 rounds. He was, if there was friggin' 3 more rounds, this would have been an interesting fight.
He was hurt in that 10th round. He was hurt.
So I'm not here to take anything away from this guy, but he is what he is. I just think that he's not a big puncher because he doesn't sit down on the shots. He's touch and go. He's just trying to touch and get out of there. He's not going to sit there and try to really fight you in there. I think he fights overly cautious, and I think he fights apprehensive. I think that he's concerned about getting hurt in fights, and that's okay. That's how you fight. That's how you fight. But even the great Floyd Mayweather, he sat and walked guys down when he had to walk them down. Pernell Whitaker would hold his ground, snap Chavez's head back a few times in that fight, and he let Chavez know. He let Chavez know, you come forward, I'm going to freeze you. Yeah. At no point in time, in my opinion, did he ever freeze Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares was walking through those punches. All right? So I
think there's a cap on how far Haney goes as far as weight-wise. Yeah. I don't think, he's going to have success. He's going to have success. I don't know that he has I couldn't have imagined him in there with Teofimo last night, put it that way.
Teo would stop him.
That would have been a tough one.
In emphatic fashion. So
that being said, I don't see him fighting Teo the same way he fought Linares. Linares, I really believe he wanted that knockout. He sat there, and I believe I thought he stayed in the pocket.
I'm gonna.
You thought he ran the fight though? You thought he ran?
I'm not gonna say he ran, but he was showing this. He was showing this guy an incredible amount of respect.
Sure,
and no disrespect.
He's a world-class fighter. I get it.
But people have to remember the version of Linares Lomachenko fought was 3 years ago, and after that loss, Lomachenko stopped him. After that loss, he fought another fight, and then he got knocked out in 1 round. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Pablo Cesar Cano or something, knocked him out in 1 round or whatever after that. So this guy's had a rough road these last couple years. So this wasn't the best Jorge Linares, in my opinion. And it's still
was it a prime
fight.
Jorge Linares? No. But was this the same Jorge? Let me ask you this. Was this the same Linares that fought Lomachenko?
No.
No way. Again, this Lomachenko was probably, I think, a 5 or 6 to 1 favorite over Linares. Devin Haney, I think Lomachenko. I think it was 10 or something crazy.
He was a 10 to 1, and
yeah,
in some circles he was high as 20 to 1. So I'm just going to be honest. Not saying he's a bad fighter, but I just don't see him beating the iron in this division. I think Tank beats him. I think friggin' Lomachenko would beat him. I think Teofimo Lopez would beat him. And guess what? I even think Ryan Garcia would beat him.
No.
And that's a stretch, but I think he'd beat him. I think he'd hit him. I think he'd hit him with a left. I think because he's so listen to this. Now, in my opinion, Ryan Garcia is a much better at this stage. I think he's a much better fighter than Linares. A much more dangerous fighter, a much more explosive fighter, a much faster fighter, a much stronger fighter. I think Ryan Garcia would knock him out with a left hook. I'm just saying.
Well, if he did show anything last night, he was getting hit with that left hand over and over again. That's the one thing I noticed, and I noticed it early. He was getting clipped with that left hand.
What does Ryan Garcia have?
Left hand, right.
And what if Linares was even the Linares that showed up against Lomachenko that I had winning up until the time he was getting stopped. He would have beat this version of Devin Haney last night. Excuse me. He would have beat that version of Devin Haney last night, in my opinion. And this is all my opinion. I mean, feel free to disagree if you'd like.
Yeah,
I just think there's something missing with this kid. I just think there's something missing.
I think it's his power. I think it's his power that's missing.
I also think it's up here too. I think I do. Yeah. He doesn't have that dog and that killer instinct. You got to have a little bit of that in you if you want to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I don't know about that because I think anybody at that level has got that killer instinct. I mean, you have to have it.
I will tell you this.
Right?
I will tell you this. He has an exceptional speed.
Yes.
He has exceptional footwork, exceptional balance. He's good at throwing his punch. He's a good, accurate puncher. He's quick.
Yes.
But I don't think he steps in and sits down on these shots. I don't think he throws combinations. I think he'll throw one or two shots and he's ready to get out of there and reset. He's really overly concerned about taking damage. Even after when he's being interviewed, he said, "Yeah, I got to be careful in there because I don't want to." He kept giving this guy, like he was talking about this guy as if he was fighting Gerald McClellan or Mike Tyson. Like, no disrespect to Linares, but I mean, this guy is just, he's not a one-punch knockout guy. He's not that. Like, you were a 10-1 favorite over this guy for a reason. And you didn't look like a 10-1 favorite. Now, do you have to look like a 10-1 favorite? No. All you have to do is win the fight. You won the fight. But based off of what I saw, I can't pick you over any of the top guys in this division. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
No, I would pick him against Garcia. I would pick him against. I still would pick him against anybody with the exception of Teofimo. I don't think that he beats Teofimo. I really don't.
I think Tank would destroy him.
I don't know. I don't think Tank would lay a hand on. I really don't.
Nah, Tank.
I think he fights Tank a lot different than he fights Linares. I'll put it that way.
I don't see him fighting any other way. I mean, I've watched this guy I've seen Teofimo Lopez show me different looks. I've seen Lomachenko show me different looks. I've even seen Ryan Garcia show me different looks. This guy
fights Campbell fight, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's fought the same way every time I've seen him fight. Yeah. I think Tank would decapitate him, with all due respect. I don't want to get I think Tank would hurt him. I don't want to say anything derogatory about anyone, but I think Tank would hurt him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that he's the guy in the division as far as I think Teofimo is that guy.
Okay.
But I still see a big upside to this guy. And I really, a lot of people are down in his performance last night. I think it was great for him last night. I think this was a really good performance for him last night because I think it lines people up because people are going to say, I can beat this guy. And now they're going to want to get in there with him.
Teofimo probably already signed a contract right now to fight him.
Teofimo wants him next. I think they want Garcia next, but Teofimo wants him next.
I think Haney and Teofimo will happen next after Teo beats Kambosos.
Yeah, say that again for Chandler M real loud. Teo beats Kambosos.
Teo's beating Kambosos.
It's over, son. It's all over the crying.
I'm sorry for all the fans. I'm sorry for all the fans over in Australia, but I don't see Kambosos beating Teofimo.
Is Chandler M from Australia? Chandler M's not from Australia. Yeah.
I don't know where Chandler M is from.
He's from Mars picking Kambosos.
I don't even think I want to know where he's from, to be honest with you. This dude makes me nervous.
He's from Iowa. Well, there you go. They get the news late over there, so I don't know. They don't get all the news over there. So there you go. Andres Rodriguez, Teo Kambosos is part of Super Saturday on June 19th. And we'll tell you why it's Super Saturday here in a little bit. But yeah, I tell you what, I think while this may not have been Haney's best fight, I thought it was a good win. I thought it was a good win over a name guy, top guy.
Good name.
Good name, good win. And I think this is going to line him up for bigger fights because I think now they're going to look at him and say, you know what? I can beat that guy.
I agree.
So yeah, man, that's what I think. I mean,
and hats off to Devin Haney. I mean, he's 22 years old and he's making a good living for himself. All the power to him. He's a nice kid. I mean, I just have to be honest in my assessment.
Sure, absolutely, man. And I think there was some that was the only fight I saw on DAZN. That was on DAZN. That was the only fight I saw on DAZN. I think there was a chick fight on the undercard there or whatever, the co-main or whatever it is. Did you, was there anything worth talking about?
There wasn't any great fights on the undercard.
No, I know, what's his name? Shane Mosley Jr. Shane Mosley Jr. lost. Who cares? Really, who cares? Those cards on DAZN, he's getting to be like, he puts one good fight on and the rest of the card is trash.
Melissa Hernandez got stopped, the female fight for, I think it was 130-pound title. Yeah, she got stopped. But it wasn't really a great fight. It was a one-sided fight. They're all one-sided fights. This wasn't one of the better DAZN cards. It was
I haven't seen a good DAZN card in a while. From top to bottom.
I thought the Chisora card was pretty good with Parker. What else?
I did have Parker on it.
That Povetkin white card was okay. It wasn't bad. Katie Taylor's card that she was on wasn't bad either.
Quigley, was Jason Quigley, was that the one that fought Shane Mosley?
I believe so. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's the guy who beat him.
Quigley won.
All right, let's go to the phones here. Robert, ringside Robbie. Talk to me.
Hello, guys.
What's up, man?
Great show tonight, and Joe, you're on fire. It's great. I couldn't agree with your assessment more as far as Devin Haney is concerned. You completely nailed the way he looked and what his future holds. You're on top of your game tonight.
I need a raise.
So, anyway, Eric, I'm sorry that you didn't get to see the Shane Mosley Jr. Jason Quigley fight.
Because I'm not.
I actually thought that was. I thought that was one of the better fights on the card. It was a very close and competitive fight. So if you get a chance, go back and take a look at it, because it was, as far as I'm concerned, it stole the show on as far as the fights were concerned. It was very competitive, and congratulations to Nonito Donaire. I never thought he'd actually pull that off last night.
I didn't either.
That was impressive stuff.
What were your thoughts on Jack Reese? That's your boy. Isn't Jack Reese your boy? Your thoughts on him giving him an extra 10 seconds once he got up?
No. The referee's performance in the last few weeks has been pretty disgusting. With Lawrence Cole and Kenny Bayless, and what Jack Reese did last night was inexcusable. That was pathetic stuff. Good fights, and I couldn't agree with Joe more. I remember watching Devin Haney when he came up on Showbox and was beating people pretty convincingly, and of course I hadn't seen him fight in a while, and I thought, well, he's had a number of fights. He should look improved. This should be interesting. He definitely showed some weaknesses last night. He definitely won the fight. There's no question about that. But Teofimo and Tank and others, as soon as they get a contract in their hands, they're going to sign it, because he definitely showed that he could definitely be beat last night.
Wow, just dumped all over the guy's career, man. That's cold-blooded, Robert. It's cold-blooded.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with Joe more. He completely nailed it.
I mean, did you expect any less? I mean, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Alexander Wilson. Hang on one second, Robert. He said Haney doesn't turn his hip when he punches; it's all arm punches.
And Haney did get booed.
Absolutely.
That's correct. Reese Mack and Chandler M. He got booed last night heavily.
Where were they at? They were in Vegas, though, right?
They were in Vegas. And he's from Las Vegas.
He lives in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Floyd lives in Las Vegas and gets booed on the Cinco de Mayo. I mean, of course they're going to boo him.
Yeah.
But booed.
Come on.
You
get booed in your own hometown?
Come on, man.
Come on.
It's a Mexican home. I mean, like they cheer for they're going to, if you're in Vegas, they're going to cheer for the Mexicans, man. It just is. Or the Latin guys. I know he's Venezuelan, but hey, we're all gente. You know what I mean?
He went up on the ropes and everyone was booing the
no.
hell out of him, man. They didn't like the
That's
fight.
right.
They didn't like his performance.
No.
He was doing the waltz at the end, man. I mean, no offense, but that's what he's doing. Am I wrong, Robbie?
And I agree. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right because and I don't know about the one judge. I don't know about the one judge that had it 7-5. I didn't see it that way. I thought it was clearly 8-4 and 9-3.
I had it 8-4, Robbie.
Yeah, I did too, but I couldn't believe it when Michael Buffer read the scorecards and one of them was 7-5. I'm like, what?
Well, I'm going to tell you why, Robbie. Because Linares won the fourth.
Okay.
Linares won the fourth. I think you would.
Right.
I think you would agree with that. Did you give them the last 3 rounds?
That's
10, 11,
correct.
and, did you give them 10, 11, and 12?
Yes, I did. I gave him the 4th, the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
2 of the judges actually gave him the 9th too. So I don't know how close that 9th was. So if you give him 4 and you give him 9, 10, 11, and 12, then you get 7-5. I may go back and watch that 9th round because 2 of the judges gave him the 9th. I'm curious to see why.
Gave Linares the 9th?
Yes.
They did. I don't know why.
I didn't give him the 9th. So
nope.
Very good.
Because I thought for sure that was going to be 8-4 and 9-3, and I was shocked when one of them was 7-5. I was like, really?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yep. All right, Robert, we're going to get rolling. Stay on the line. You know what Robert does? Let me tell you what Robert does that I really like is that he'll send me messages as a thing because you know how like we forget dates and everything like that. He'll text me like right away whenever one of us says something wrong or makes a mistake. He texts us right away so we can correct it. I love it.
Well, Lois has actually put him on the production. He's on the production crew now. He's on the production.
Lois put him on the production crew.
Yeah, he's getting a stipend. He's getting a stipend. Getting a stipend.
All right, Robert, we're gonna get rolling, man.
Once the stimulus checks stop coming, we're gonna give him a little bump up.
Stimulus checks, stop it. Do you keep Lois blown up, or does she like you only blow her up on weekdays?
You can't say those things because human resources doesn't like it.
HR, I hate our
HR does not like when you say those things about her.
I hate our HR department.
Can't do it.
Hate it.
We have what's called the woke HR department now. You got to be careful everything you say on here now.
God.
All right.
We're gonna get me too'd over here. What am I doing?
That's right.
I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. All right. From New York, 518. 518, you're live.
What's going on, boss? You can hear me?
Yes.
What's going on? It's Don, Tony Teflon. What up, B?
What up?
Teflon, what's
up? What's going on, baby?
What's going on? You know, I got love for all y'all. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm living life.
You should have had me on when RA was on. That's my man, bro. You should have had me on when you was on. I could tell you stories about that shit.
Yeah, I would have loved to have had that.
Son.
RA, baby.
Our guy.
He's official.
Yeah, without a doubt. But all right, talking about this fight and everything, I think that, I understand that you were disappointed with his performance. You thought he should have did something better than what he put out there. And maybe he feels the exact same way. But I don't think that we can look at, and all we have is the fights we have. But I don't think we can look at that one fight and then say he can't beat these other guys because of that fight. He didn't get blown out in this fight. He got wobbled at the end of a fight. There have been many fighters who have been wobbled at the end of a fight. Your guy, Ryan Garcia, got dropped by somebody who can't punch at all. So if we look at it the way we should say that he can't beat anybody, because at least this guy was able to stay on his feet. But that was just a moment, a lapse in time. People get caught with good punches. It happens. And I think it's the smart thing to do, to hold on when you're hurt.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I agree with everything you said. I really do. And I think it's going to be tough to judge him off of one performance like this, that he won handily. You cannot make a case for Linares winning this fight.
You're exactly right. And also, when you only people who fight somebody the exact same way are one-dimensional fighters, like Mike Tyson, and you see how that ends up. So you can't think he's going to go fight somebody else the exact same way. Because if you look, Beeb, I know you love boxing. I know you're both historians of boxing. Nobody back in the day would have ever picked Iran Barkley over Thomas Hearns.
No.
If everyone looked at all the fights they had before that, there's been no one to pick Barkley to beat Hearns. But he knocked him out every time he fought him, right? So this is just what it is. It's different styles make fights. And I think that he would fight these guys differently. And I think he does have the style, being a defensive fighter, to beat these guys. I mean, you're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Tank. A defensive fighter is what's going to beat him. You're not going to be able to do that stuff. So I think he's smart enough. He's wise enough. And listen, people don't want to end up, like fighters that we see at the Boxing Hall of Fame and how they talking and everything else. So people aren't really willing to stand in there and brawl like they used to be back in the day, because you see the outcome of what that gets you in the end.
All right. These are all fair points. One thing I will say though is he did get hurt in that 10th round. And for the rest of the fight, he really, really went into defensive mode. Now, let me just say this. Now, when Teofimo had that rough patch with Lomachenko, 8, 9, 10, and 11, he still came back in those rounds and still was landing big shots. And then he came back and won the 12th overwhelmingly. So he showed a little bit of dog in him and towards the end of that fight, even when things were getting rough, when he got the headbutt, whatever. So what I'm saying is this: as skilled as Devin Haney is, he's going to need that dog in him when he goes up against the iron. Because even Lomachenko had to show some dog in not only the Teofimo Lopez fight, but he had to show some dog in the Linares fight after he got dropped, because he got up and he fought even harder. And he came back and won the round that he got dropped in. So, I think that could be a problem for Haney when he fights these guys. I think these guys got maybe a little bit more of a mental edge over him. I could be wrong, but this is just what I see. Sometimes when I look at fighters, I could just see who's about that life and who's not. And I'm not so sure Haney's about that life. I'm not so sure he's got that dog in him, that grit in him. That's just me.
I hear what you're saying, but the Teofimo Lopez fight, and that was a much closer fight. He had to come back, right? Like, if he didn't do that, he had a chance to lose that fight. And, there are people who debate with you and say he did lose that fight versus Lomo. So I don't think he was in the exact same position. I think kind of more like, let's say, Oscar De La Hoya Trinidad. He pulled that. He got hurt. He figured he was up, so he didn't take any chances after that fight. It backfired on De La Hoya. It backfired on him. It worked out for Sugar Ray Leonard when he fought Hagler. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But no one would ever accuse Sugar Ray of not having that dog when it comes down to it. And I think I understand what you're saying. At some point in your career, you have to bite down on your mouthpiece, and you're going to have to fight your way out of the situation. I think he could do it. I don't think that was that time to do that.
Okay.
But I think he can do that. There's nothing that I've seen from him that makes me think that he would be gun shy if it came down to something like that. But at that time, I don't think it was his time to do that. I thought what he did was to hold on, survive the fight, take the win, look good next time. He's in that position right now, young in his career, that he can't afford to take a loss right now of any kind. So he has to stay undefeated. Boxing's not like all these other sports. You lose one time in boxing, your career could be over, and everything ends. So when you're trying to make that money and you're working your way up, he has no choice sometimes to protect himself, protect his investment and his investment in himself, and just fight smart.
All right, I got to give you props. You came prepared tonight. You came with some great counter arguments. We gotta acknowledge that. We gotta.
He just schooled the Beeb, son. He just schooled you. He just walked all over you, son. Put you right in your place. That's what he did. That's what he did.
Take it easy, Eric. It's okay. You're getting a little overexcited right now.
Yeah. killing the Beeb.
You're getting a little overexcited.
He
You're
just
getting a little
killed
overexcited.
you, man. He just sat there.
This ain't Jerry Springer. Take it easy.
Man, he just crushed you, man. That's cold-blooded, man. I might not even let him back on for this beating that he just gave you. You know what I mean?
He can come back on any time. He has much love on this channel. He has much love on this channel.
He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Hey, and anytime y'all, if you ever watch one of the shows that I review, Beeb, you can always come on my channel. You always welcome.
Hey, do me a favor. Hey, do me a favor. Shout out your channel real quick. Shout out your channel real quick so people can watch
it. Thank you, brother.
It's my channel is Teflon TV. I'll be in the comment section, but I do reviews on like TV shows and stuff like that. But also, I am the author of Deontay Wilder's children's book, Deontay Wilder, the Future World Champ. I'll send y'all copies. If you hit me up in the inbox, I'll send y'all both a copy of that book
for sure.
And all that. But me and my boy Dustin, we do like children's books for a lot of boxers. We did Hector Mancho Camacho Jr.'s book. We did Casa Zoo's book. We did a bunch of those books out there. But the big one that I'm known for is the Deontay Wilder book. So.
Awesome,
man. That's great. Man. Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Good stuff, man. All right, man. We're gonna get rolling. Thank you so much for calling, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit him up for having me, book, brother.
Man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Definitely do it.
Yeah, we have to hit him up for those books, man. Check him out.
Yeah, he's got a great channel, man. He's got an awesome channel.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, let's talk about these upcoming fights here coming up here. Let's see here. And we'll also review that June 19th, because I got to tell you guys about that. That's insane. All right, let's bring it up here. Adesanya fighting next week, Beeb, for UFC.
That's a good fight, man.
Yeah, it's not a bad fight. Not a bad fight at all. I'm anxious to see how he looks after that loss coming back from Blachowicz.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. All right, so let's see here. June 5th from England. And Beeb, listen, I don't want you cackling. I don't want anything but respect for the next guy we're having on here, man, because we're going to announce this fight. And I know you've talked about him being a quitter and everything like that when his eye was messed up.
Never.
You talked about it. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. I got to be honest with you. I don't like it. June 5th from England. And I'm assuming this is going to be on ESPN, but I don't know. Daniel Dubois versus Bogdan Dinu. 12 rounds for the vacant WBA interim heavyweight title. Somebody want to explain to me how he gets smashed in his last fight and he gets a title shot? Somebody want to explain that to me?
What is it like? It's like an interim one, right?
It's an interim, but it's WBA heavyweight interim title. It's vacant because it's interim. Why would they have an interim? I don't understand that.
This is why, I get in these debates with people on Twitter about titles and undisputed designations and all this and that, because pretty soon you're going to need the IBO belt now to be undisputed, because now you got the WBO regular, you got the WBO Super World, you got the WBA interim. I think you got the WBA gold. I think they even have a gold title. I mean, it's too much, bro. It's too much.
It's insane, right?
I'm just going crazy with all these belts, man. For real. For real. It's just getting out of control.
And it makes no sense that this guy gets a shot at the title after being dominated. I mean, dominated in his last fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, he got knocked out in emphatic fashion. I had him up by a point at the time of the stoppage. I just got to be honest.
You had him up for real?
He was up on all three scorecards, bro.
Was he? He was, wasn't he? I don't know. I had the other guy. I had Joyce up, and I'm not a big Joyce fan, as you guys know. He's my boy now, but I don't know. June 6th, Saturday, or is this a Sunday? I think it's Sunday. Yeah, so June 5th is Saturday, and I believe that June 6th is Saturday or a Sunday. Yeah, this fight's on a Sunday, Beeb. Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, 8-round special exhibition. Are these 3 rounds or 2-minute rounds? Do you know?
Oh, they're 3. They're 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
On the undercard, Badu Jack versus the dreaded TBA. We'll tell you what happened in a little bit. Jarrett Hurd versus Luis Arias, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. Chad Johnson of Cincinnati Bengals fame versus Brian Maxwell, 4 rounds, cruiserweights. That's also a special exhibition. Chad Johnson can fight. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I know Chad Johnson. I know for a fact he can fight. John Carlos Torres versus Zach Kuhn. Let's see what else. No real names on there. It looks like about 10 fights on there, but I imagine you'll see about 4 or 5. Beeb, any reaction to this Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul thing?
It's I was talking to Emil Carr about this today, and he said something that we said about the McGregor Mayweather fight, because they're doing something on Showtime, sort of like their version of the 24/7. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Fight Camp or whatever it is. And it was actually pretty good. They were talking about, they were showing Mayweather in his life, hanging out at his strip club.
I watched something about that. Did they inside Logan Paul thing last night, or the inside Floyd and Logan thing?
Yeah, whatever. I forget what it was called. It was actually pretty interesting, right? So
yeah, it wasn't bad.
So now, like, even though Emil Carr and I, we're not crazy about Floyd Mayweather we're not real huge Mayweather fans, we don't like him as a person too much, because he's just hard to like. For me, he's just very irritating.
Right.
And for Emil Carr, we both agree on that. But we were both saying, you know what? We're going to probably buy it, both of us, because we're both saps, right?
We're total degenerates. I'm going to buy it.
Emil Carr said he was going to buy it. I said I'm going to buy it.
You suck.
What I want to know is this really going to be an exhibition? Or is Mayweather really going to teach this kid a lesson? Is he really mad at this kid? Is he going to take out on Logan what Jake did to him? So was it all a show what Jake did? Was it all part of a scam to promote the fight? Because after that incident happened, that was everywhere. And even they were talking about it on that whole show. Like, look how many people, like how many hits this got and all this and all that. So my curiosity is Floyd Mayweather gonna go out there and really beat on this guy? Because it's gonna be amazing to see a little 5'8" guy beating up on a 6'2" guy that's like friggin' 200 pounds, man.
Yeah, look at what was it? Canelo fighting any one of those European guys, those English guys. They were like 10 feet tall, you know.
Yeah, so that's the intriguing thing about it. Will Mayweather really take this as an exhibition, or will he go out there? And did he take all the disrespect, or the so-called disrespect that he received from the Paul brothers? Will he take that to heart, and will he make Logan pay for that? That's what I'm curious to see.
Sean asked me, he says, why pay for this? Basically because we're suckers, man. We're saps. We suck. We have a disease. We're degenerates, my man. You don't know this by now. You don't know this by now. Are you going to really tell me you don't know this by now, that we buy every stupid pay-per-view coming down the pike?
190 is the weight limit, but I suspect come fight night he'll be closer to 200. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just me.
Listen, man, I do think this brings eyes to the sport. Listen, you have to have, casual fans drive the sport, whether you like it or not. They do. Whenever there's a big pay-per-view or whatever, I mean, the casual fans have got to be involved in it. You know what I mean? And this also gets to showcase like Badu Jack on the undercard, some other fighters on the undercard that you wouldn't normally see. So I mean, it's okay. I get you. But going back to your thing, was this staged? Listen, I don't believe it was staged, because was it Jake Paul got beat up? I mean, he had like a black eye, his lip was busted open, everything like that. Listen, if it was just a staged thing, it's not going to happen. They're not going to touch him up like that.
Them bodyguards gave him that work, right?
Would you see Big Baby's one of Floyd's bodyguards?
Yep.
Big Baby Miller's one of Floyd's bodyguards. So yeah, I'm not crossing that guy. You guys know what he's capable of. He was in there with Crow Cop and everybody else in there. That guy's mean.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not messing with that guy.
I ain't playing around with that dude.
No, that's not the guy you mess with. But some people are asking, I've seen the question posed, does Logan have a chance against Floyd? No. And the simple answer is no. No, he doesn't.
Not a chance.
No, man. And I'll tell you what, Floyd's in the best shape that I've seen him in a long time. I remember him. You remember him in the fight when he went overseas to Attention?
Yes.
And he had that dad bod going. He didn't have any muscle. Didn't look like he ran a mile for that fight. You know what I mean? He's already ripped up for this fight, man. He looks good.
He looks really good.
He looks the part. Put it that way.
Very impressed. Very impressed with how he looks.
Yeah, but I don't know. I tell you what, yeah, there's no way Logan Paul wins this fight or even is competitive for any length of time. You know, anybody can look good in there for 1 or 2 rounds, but you're going 8 rounds with this guy? Nah, man. I don't think so. I think that Floyd knocks him out. And I think Floyd knocks him out with a body shot. I think he does. I think he works his body. But the bigger issue here, B, is that Logan Paul has not won a professional fight. He's not won a professional fight.
Neither did Conor McGregor.
Not won a professional fight. Neither did Conor McGregor. Tension was what? He was what, 20, 30 pounds heavier than Tension?
Well, here's the thing. Here's another catch-22 that you have to.
Tension never boxed.
He was 0-0. He never had a win in a boxing ring either.
No.
So the last 3 fighters he fought were winless in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
As boxers.
Right. And not only that, I mean, you watch what Pacquiao's doing.
So how does that look?
You know, you watch what Pacquiao's doing. And Pacquiao's out there fighting Errol Spence next.
I already made a video about this.
And if you guys haven't seen that video, go back on our channel and check it out. It's really good.
Thank you.
But again, he's fighting Errol Spence and Floyd's fighting Logan Paul. What? What are we doing here, man? I don't get it. It's crazy. Real quick, let me go over before we get to the news and the phones. Real quick, let me go over June 19th. Let me just run this down for you, and we'll go over it obviously when it comes. But June 19th is like Super Saturday here. ESPN has Naoya Inoue versus Michael Desmarinas, which I don't think is going to be a great fight. But again, Naoya Inoue is fighting, so you got to tune in. Triller, they got Teofimo Lopez versus Gambosos. They got that one. Jamal Charlo versus Juan Macias Montiel. Let's see. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Anderson Silva. Yeah, I get it, but it's still pay-per-view and it's still on here. Jaime Munguia versus Majes Sulecki. And that's when that's the undercard that Blair Cobbs is fighting on in El Paso, Texas. That is Super Saturday, my brother. How about that?
It's a lot of good fights, bro.
A lot of good. How are we gonna do our time, man? I don't understand.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. We have to figure it out, man.
I like that Munguia fight. It's a pretty interesting fight.
That's a good fight.
Yeah.
Selesky's no pushover. Selesky's a very, very talented fighter, man.
I like that
very
fight.
Good. I like that a lot. Chandler M, not a Jamal Charlo fan. Says he's the biggest fraud in the sport. How dare you? How dare you? All right, 612. I think this is Minneapolis. Minneapolis, you're live.
I'm loyal to my group, and all my do is game bang, but pay respect when it's due.
What's up, man? What you got?
I think that was it.
That's it? Okay.
I think that was it. That was it. He called for that.
All right.
That's okay. That's all right. I think this is Corey Lee. 804. Is that Corey Lee?
I think so.
All right. 804, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
What's
Corey Lee's
Banger
boxing. Banger. Banger.
I heard Corey Lee had Nonito Donaire winning by a 4th round KO last night. And Devin Haney by a close decision. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Roll out the red carpet. You got any hors d'oeuvres? Let's go. What you got, Corey Lee?
Yo, what's up, everybody? How's everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
What's happening?
Couldn't be happier, man.
All right, man. Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yes.
Best you've ever heard.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, man. I thought it was some good fights this weekend, man. Shout out to everybody, the Ringside Reporter, and I still listen to y'all podcast, even though I don't call in every week. Yeah, man, my sinus is acting up today, so excuse me if I sound a little messed up, but yeah, the pollen's real bad out here. So yeah, man. This weekend was awesome, man, and I'm gonna be honest, man. I think Devin Haney, man, you know, after looking at his performance, I think he has a lot to work on, man. And I think that Ryan Garcia, man, could possibly, you know, cause some problems to Devin Haney, and I always pick Gervonta Davis to beat Devin Haney. You know, I always thought Gervonta Davis was the best at 135. You know what I mean, and 130. So it's just like, you know, I think 135 and 130, they all have to go through Gervonta Davis. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. I'm calling a spade a spade. You know what I mean? You know, it all signs point to Gervonta Davis. You know, he's becoming a cash cow. You know, the numbers don't lie. He's moving the needle. Obviously, he's in the DMV area. I'm in the DMV area. I get to see him train. I've seen him train firsthand. So it's like one of those things. Coach Calvin has a really good thing going on with him, and he's got him locked in. Long as Gervonta Davis can stay healthy and outside of the ring, he can be good. You know what I mean? I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's, you know, I really think he can do a really good thing in the sport of boxing, man. Because I don't think anybody can take Gervonta Davis's power for 12 rounds. I mean, it's just insane that he has that much power at that smaller division. Devin Haney, we've seen, can get hurt. You know what I mean? And hurt badly. What do you guys think, man?
I don't know. You know, listen, man, I think that Haney's getting a lot of flack for his fight last night. I think a lot of the criticism is unfair. I really do. I think, you know, you're looking at one fight against a world-class guy, you know, who gave Lomachenko all he could handle. He's given a lot of people all they could handle. So, you know, to say that that's it, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's, you know, I think it's a little bit unfair, to be honest.
What do you think, Beebs?
I already said that I wasn't overly impressed with Devin Haney because based off of what I saw, I just don't think he has that killer instinct. I don't think he sits down on the shots. I think he's a safety first fighter, although he is quick. He didn't look to me like he really wanted to make a statement last night. He looked to me like he was just doing whatever he could to get the win, which is fine. But he showed this guy, Jorge Linares, a ton of respect, more so than I thought that he really needed to. And I thought he was overly concerned about taking damage in this fight. He seemed like he fought a little bit apprehensive last night. And I think maybe he lacks a little bit of that killer instinct, a little bit of that dog that some of these other guys have. And because of that, I think I would favor every single one of these guys: Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez. I think they all beat him, in my opinion. That's just how I see it.
Wow, man, that's
just complete disrespect.
That's how you see it, man. And
wow.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think that at 135, I think that, you know, Devin Haney, you know, being that he has that WBC strap. Well, I don't know who has it. Teofimo has it. Devin Haney has it. I don't know, man, but you know, I just think that at 135, man, there's a lot of good fighters at 135, but I just think that Devin Haney shows some flaws that could possibly be exploited by better fighters than Linares, and that's calling it straight down the middle. You know what I mean? Linares is nowhere near the level of Gervonta Davis or even a Teofimo Lopez. You know, and we see what Linares can do to Devin Haney. Devin Haney was I'm not giving him a lot of flack, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. You know, Devin Haney was giving Linares too much respect, man. Linares has been iced before. You know what I mean? I mean, out cold, done. You know what I mean? And you got to understand, man, you know, it's hard to get another chin, man. So it's just like, I just feel like, you know, Linares has been you know, knocked out before, and I just feel like, you know, Devin Haney could have knocked him out. It could have went in, but he didn't, man. And I think, you know, more should be said about, you know, Devin Haney being uncomfortable. Linares putting Devin Haney in uncomfortable situations. You know what I mean? And pressure busts tight. I don't think Devin Haney wants to be hit. I can see that, man. And I'm not going to take up you guys' time. This is my call. This is Corey Lee Boxing, and you guys have a great week.
All right, Corey Lee.
Corey Lee Boxing on YouTube. Check it out. Before we go back to the phones, let's get to the news here. Not too many stories here, but a couple. Pacquiao opened up. Talk to me about this. Pacquiao opened up against a 5.5 to 1 underdog against Spence. Are they giving him way too much? I would have opened him up a lot further than that.
Maybe they could have opened him up at maybe 7, 8 to 1. Because you know what's going to happen is the odds are gonna narrow, because a lot of his fans, he's got a huge amount of Filipino fans. Once the fight gets close, they're gonna come over. They're gonna bet the house on him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of bizarre that they opened it up, but not. I don't think it's too far off, but you got to look at his last performance. I mean, he looked good against Thurman, but again, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I got to be honest with you, Eric. I'm going to pick Spence to win this fight, but I think it's going to go the distance. I would bet Spence to win by decision. I would bet the decision prop in this fight. But there's something in the back of my mind that I don't know, man. There's something about Pacquiao that I think he may have one last good one in him in this fight. Wouldn't it be amazing if he were to pull it off?
If he pulls it off, it's bigger than Buster Douglas. I'll be honest with you. It has to be, right?
It got to be right there with it, man.
It's got to be right there with it.
It got to be right there with it.
I mean,
it got to be right there with
this
it.
This guy, this fight, to me, what this fight's going to look like, it's going to look like Larry Holmes and Ali. That's what it's going to look like.
I don't know, man.
Listen, man, Spence is younger, stronger, faster, bigger. Check any box you want. It's in Spence's favor.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Spence is quicker on his feet than Manny Pacquiao is, even at this age?
Yeah.
Because Pacquiao's he's got blinding foot speed, bro. That's one. You know what? I'm just curious to see if that's the case. I'm just curious.
You know what Pacquiao had trouble with in his against the Thurman fight? He was getting hit with clean right hands.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
Over and over again. He was getting hit clean in the middle of the fight with those right hands. What do you think is going to happen when Spence clicks him with that right hand? And
Pacquiao hasn't fought a southpaw since he fought David Diaz. I think that was like 15 years ago or something like that. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't see any way. Listen, I would love to see Pacquiao win this fight. Just for history purposes, okay? How great would it be to see that? Everybody always wants to see these upsets, okay? But man, look, he's not going to be able to do it. This guy is the best fighter in the world. He's quite possibly the best fighter in the world he's going up against. Errol Spence. You know what I mean? Everybody's got Crawford listed pound for pound, Canelo. Listen, Spence is right there.
Yeah.
Spence is right there.
Oh, Spence is up there.
Chandler M, want a pie bet for what? What do you want a pie bet for? The Pacquiao fight? I'm taking Spence. I mean,
he wants to take Manny. He's taking Manny.
We can pie bet that one too. Yeah, we can pie bet that one too. But you're gonna owe me a pie bet from the Kambosos fight, and I'll take Spence. You pay up first, and then we'll bet again. Absolutely, I'm not gonna shy away from that. I'll take Spence all day.
Yeah,
no question, man.
I'll be pulling for Pacquiao a little bit though, man. I pull for
Pacquiao too, man. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? This is like a history type thing, man. Of course you're going to pull for Pacquiao. He's a sentimental favorite, but he's going to get hurt real bad in this fight. I really believe that.
I think
Spence. Yeah, I do. I think Spence is going to murder him, man.
Wow, a lot of people. Really, a couple of people picking Manny in the chat, bro.
Pick him all you want, man. Go waste your money, man. Go flush it down the toilet, or go play the lotto. You got a better chance of winning.
You guys gonna sway the beat? Nah, you can't sway the beat. You can't sway the beat. He's too strong. He's too strong. Too strong.
Yeah. And not to mention, he's going up to 160 to fight this guy. His last fight was at 147, Beeb. And he's going to move up 13 pounds north, and he's going to give this guy fits. Nah. I can't see it. I just can't see it. Think about that. He's going up 13 pounds.
Who's going up 13 pounds?
Pacquiao to 160, isn't he?
No, this is a 147 fight, him and Spence.
Not 147. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong guy. What am I thinking about? I don't know. I had that in my head. That he's going up.
You were thinking about Mikey Garcia going.
That's
up
what
to
I
fight-
was. That's what I was
to
thinking
fight
about.
Spence.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you see. See how we can read each other's minds at this point.
Read each other's mind. We just
know each other that
bounced
well.
off each other. That's what it is. That's how
No,
it goes.
but the thing is this. I think that this fight is going to turn out to some degree like Mikey Garcia versus Spence a little bit, and the fact that Spence boxed a lot in that fight and didn't really go for the knockout. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think that he's gonna press for that knockout. I really do.
It seems like Team Pacquiao sees something in Spence, but then again, Mikey said he saw something too. So what?
And
what is
Mikey saw nothing. I can guarantee you that because he didn't win a round in that fight.
He saw it, but he couldn't do anything about it. Whatever he saw, he couldn't do anything about it. That seemed to be the case, obviously, right?
All right. Well, that's the other thing too. You know, you can have a fight scouted and you can know, but executing that plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just so lost for words that Manny took this fight. It's so amazing that he took this fight, in my opinion. What a courageous fight.
Listen, I think that's part of the reason I like the fight.
What a courageous fighter this guy is.
While Floyd Mayweather's fighting Logan Paul, you know what I'm saying? This guy's still fighting the top guys.
He didn't have to fight this fight, man. He could have fought Thurman in a rematch.
He could have fought anybody, and it would have been a big draw.
Would have been a big.
He could have fought anybody, but he goes and fights this.
Him versus him versus Mikey Garcia would have been a better fight for him.
Yeah, that's a winnable fight. You know, I don't know that he wins it. I don't know that he wins it, but I think it's a better fight for him for sure.
So he could have took a lot of different fights here to make big money.
Well, he was also talking to Terrence Crawford. They were trying to make that fight. You know, I mean, so he was going for the big guys, man. Last week's fight with Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez drew an average of 950,000 people. That's on good. ESPN. That is not good, guys. That's a free TV. That is not good, man.
But you got to blame ESPN for that because they didn't really push this fight.
Well, you got to blame Top Rank too because they didn't push the fight. I mean, there was a complete lack of promotion. The fact that the fight wasn't shown in the UK, wasn't picked up in the UK, and Josh Taylor, horrible promotion, man. That was just awful promotion. And I tell you what, you didn't do Josh Taylor any favors in that fight. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You didn't do Ramirez any favors either because he fought a good fight. Fought a good fight too.
It's not a good look, bro.
No. John Bones Jones retains Richard Schaefer as an advisor. This was interesting to me. Jones with the UFC has retained Richard Schaefer. As you know, Jones is trying to get a deal to fight Francis Ngannou, who's going to fight. Who's he fighting next? Who's Ngannou fighting next? The big guy.
Who's that guy there?
He's huge, and he's another guy that could put you out with,
with one punch.
What's that guy's name? Anybody in the chat? What's that guy's name?
Yeah, I forget his name. He should beat him. He should beat him easy though.
Yeah, I think so too. Ngannou is just a monster.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis. That's who it is.
That's correct. Derek Lewis. Yes.
Yeah. So he's fighting Derek Lewis. Okay. And Derek Lewis, you heard about Derek Lewis about a week or two ago. Ended up somebody was trying to carjack or trying to steal his car, and he caught him. And Derek Lewis just slammed him and beat him up. Can you imagine of all the cars in the world you pick that one? That one. Come on, son.
Oh my God.
That was just dumb. That was a bad day.
Talk about bad luck.
Triple G looking to face Ryota Murata. Triple G and Ryota Murata have agreed to fight on December 28th this year in Tokyo. So you can forget about that third Canelo fight, which thank God. Murata's the WBA champ and Triple G is the IBF champ, both at 160. So listen, man, it's a big fight in Japan. I get it. I don't know. I'm not too thrilled about it. He's got, I think Murata's got less than 20 fights. Is he 15-2 or 14-2 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. And the fights, and here's the worst part of it. The fight's on like a Tuesday morning. So it'll be like the Donaire.
Is that on
the Donaire?
Is that on the Zone or is it a Top Rank show?
It's on the Zone, I believe. Yeah, because Triple G is the Zone, and I know Murata, I think, is Top Rank, I believe.
Murata's Top Rank, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Doesn't do a lot for me though.
No,
I don't know. I'm not really excited for it. Not much.
Well, you know, if Canelo beats Plant, the next fight's going to be Golovkin. If Golovkin beats Murata, that's going to be the next fight.
Stop, man. Quit.
I know, but I'm just telling you.
I know. Hate it. Train wreck of the week this week belongs to quite possibly be the best boxer on the planet, Charlie Zelnoff, right? The best guy out there, right?
Yep.
Landed a punch on Deontay Wilder, I think on his thigh or something like that. I don't know.
Beautiful body shot.
Internet troll Charlie Z, man. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, Kim Kardashian claims that the guy keeps posting about his desire to pursue a physical relationship with her. There you go. And he's got a lot of posts trying to enter her home and everything like that. Kim says the guys filmed videos outside her property. And he's getting frustrated by not getting inside her property. So they went and filed a restraining order. He's got to stay 100 yards away from the house. Charlie Z, son, what is he doing over there?
That's pure insanity.
Hey, listen, man. Kim Kardashian's a pretty lady, man. No question about it. You think she's pretty?
Yeah, I think she's very attractive.
Right. I mean, listen, I get it. I get it. You're infatuated with her. I get it. But listen, I'm going to put this to you delicately as I can. She ain't never going out with you, son. She's got a better chance of marrying a coyote than going out with you. It ain't happening. So just leave it alone, man. I don't understand why pursue this, because it ain't what you think is going to happen is not going to happen.
He was saying for years, like he'd be making videos and he was always talking about her and stuff. But
for real?
Oh yeah. But to think he would actually stalk her like that is amazing, bro.
Yeah. Like really, man. A coyote. Hernandez is a coyote. Yes, a coyote, son. All right. On the train wreck of the week, Jean Pascal. He's got
the dirty pee-pee.
Failed a drug test for steroids this week. His fight with Badu Jack is off. Pascal put out the following statement. I am shocked and embarrassed. I would never voluntarily take illegal substances. Come on, son. Listen, you don't voluntarily take illegal substances. However, they found 3 or 4 different types of steroids in his blood? What? Come on, man. At least own up to it because you're caught. You know what I'm saying? You're caught.
Has anyone ever really owned up to it? Can you name one fighter that's owned up to it once they got caught? Did anyone ever say, yeah, I got caught, I'm busted?
No. That's the best thing you could do.
Like they all make an excuse. All of them.
How does somebody just unknowingly feed you steroids?
Well, what happened was I was walking down the street and I tripped and I actually my ass fucking fell onto this needle. Wasn't my fault at all. I didn't see it coming. Can't blame me for that. It was a complete accident.
Right. He says, if I have to come out of pocket and pay for the most advanced 365-day random VADA testing available to boxers, and that's what I'll do. Yeah, to prove he's got a clear name and everything. Shut up.
Sure you will.
Shut up.
Show me the receipts.
Right. Because now they're going to pull his B sample, and that's going to come back dirty. So unless his B sample doesn't come back dirty, I don't want to hear about it.
He's done, bro.
He's done. What is he, 38?
He's 38 years old. He's done.
Stop it. Stop. Just nonsense. Let's go to El Paso, 915. I believe this is D-Style. 915, you're live.
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What up?
What's happening?
Hey, I just want to say this. Hey, I'm doing good. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Ringside Reporter. Hey, really quick, my thoughts on the Haney thing. Look, a lot of people are making a lot of good, good points. And I do feel like someone could sit down and rationalize and make a good argument as to why the fight went just great for Haney. And I get that. You know what I mean? Plus, we're all going to see it differently. But I just have to be honest. Jorge Linares was knocked out in the first round against Cesar Pablo Cano, who's not known to be a big monster puncher. He's been knocked out early in fights. He's been knocked out by getting worn down. He's been cut. He's known to be a bleeder. I didn't see him bleed in this fight. This is a war-torn, aging, still good, but a fighter that honestly, all I heard the Haney camp say is how they're going to stop him. You know, we didn't stop Gamboa because we had a hurt hand and he was holding too much, and then now you're the one holding. Like, here's my thing. Haney could still beat the top lightweights in the world. He can. But he's just not going to be this knockout artist. He's not going to beat them maybe the way fans want him to beat guys,
right?
Including myself and others. He's just not going to be that guy. Like, he just isn't. And that's okay. But if the criticism is, okay, you said you're going to knock him out, you're going to stop him, you're going to walk him down, and you didn't do that, then it's okay for people to point out that you just didn't do that. Haney didn't look good, in my opinion, trying to press the action to be the aggressor whatsoever. If anything, he landed his best shots when he was on his back foot and let Linares lead. Lastly, the 10th round. He was hurt in that round, and he was also trying to recover for the remainder of the fight. And what's troubling is not the fact that, look, yes, you could hold on, and he did what he had to do to win props. My issue is that if I didn't know any better, if I did not know the history of Jorge Linares, I would have thought, man, this guy must have an iron chin. He must have some of the best stamina I've ever seen. I mean, this guy is like a unstoppable force that keeps coming after you. Nobody could knock this guy out. No, nobody could slow this dude down if I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? So those are the red flags. It's not about this fight specifically, and it's not about Haney as a fighter. It's comparing Haney to his comrades, to his peers, I should say. And I got to be honest, like, can anyone make a good argument to me that Haney can keep some of these other guys, like Teofimo Lopez, off of him? Could he really keep Gervonta Davis off of him? Like, is he going to have the respect like that? Linares is a fighter that is a little gun shy because he's been knocked out several times. What about someone who's not gun shy? What about someone that's going to go for the kill and not look for the perfect shot? So I do think that the criticisms of Haney are valid, in my opinion.
It's a good point. A lot of good points in there. Yeah, definitely. I mean, what is he going to do? That's a good point. What is he going to do against a guy who's coming after him, who's never been knocked out, who doesn't have that fear of being knocked out? You know what I mean? Yeah, those are definitely good points, man, for sure. For sure. I think what we did find out last night is that he lacks power, is that his punching power isn't quite there at that division. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it'll be interesting going up. I don't see that he beats Teofimo Lopez. I can't see him beating Teofimo. I can see him being competitive, possibly winning the other three with Garcia. You know, I think I can see him beating Garcia. I can see him beating Tank, and I can see him beating who's the other guy down there? That I think there was another guy down there, but it doesn't matter. I can see him beating those guys, but I can also see the other guys beating him too. So I think those are toss-up fights. I really do. I would favor Haney in them, but it wouldn't surprise me going either way.
Absolutely. And just one more thing I think you guys made some great points about Mayweather, Logan Paul. Look, honestly, I think Floyd's going to do whatever he wants with Logan Paul in there. And the only thing I've heard people say, oh, what about the size of Logan Paul? Let me tell you something, man. When I was younger, man, I saw flyweights beat the hell out of big dudes, okay? Like, all the time. Now imagine, like, one of the best boxers of our generation against who's really a novice. He's going to do whatever he wants to him. And I have to be, like, Paul's going to get hit with things that he doesn't even know how they were set up, how Floyd did it. That's what I'm expecting anyway. Floyd might carry him for a couple rounds, which I don't think he should do. There's enough delusional people that are going to think Paul was in the fight, but that's all I got, gentlemen.
All right, man. Thank you so much, D-Style. D-Style has a show. If you guys haven't caught it yet, him and G-Funky do a show, Hispanics Causing Panic, and I believe that's on Tuesday or Wednesday, Beeb?
Tuesday.
On Tuesday, and then he does a roundtable with a bunch of other podcasters on Thursday. And Beeb, you're usually on that show. It's always better when you're not on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do the show on Thursday.
I kind of grew on them.
He's kind of like the kid who won't go away. He just keeps knocking. Hey, can I come in? Can I do your show?
I'm like that stray dog.
Who was the guy? Remember the Fresh Prince? Was it Jazzy Jeff who came in there? He was always hanging out with him and stuff.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. You can find me on Twitter at Ringside73, and we will see you guys next week.